Hello, everyone, and welcome to the finale of Connections with Shawnta Jackson. This series is designed to help professionals to make the most out of professional networking, business growth, professional development, and we do that by bringing on individuals with experiences and who inform and inspire us. And these are unedited, unscripted chats, and I really do appreciate you all for joining me. Today is the 25th episode. So again, this is the finale of the series Connections with Shawnta Jackson. And as I like to say, my purpose in life is to help people to help themselves and others. So of course, you can continue to expect more from me. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already. We are actually today streaming live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So thanks for joining. Please do enter your questions and comments in the chat box. On my YouTube channel, I have playlists. And so Connections, again, 25 episodes, 25 individuals with something to offer, very resourceful, very informative and inspiring conversations. And then also on my playlist, I have Live with Shawnta Jackson, which features 53 interviews with individuals with lived experiences who, again, inform and inspire us and motivate and empower us. So please do check out my playlist. I have more and more to come. I'll see you all in 2022 with something bigger and better. In the meantime, you can learn more about me at shawntajackson.com. And I have a new book coming out soon. So that's what I'll be working on in the interim between my next media broadcast project. But enough about me. Again, enter your questions and comments in the chat box. And at this time, I'd like to bring on my special guest. His name is Brian J. Olds, and he is a professional speaker, and he's also the founder of the Black Speakers Network. And he'll tell us a little bit about the Black Speakers Network, which is a membership-based professional development and empowerment platform. And then we'll learn just, for me personally, I want to get a few tips from him regarding professional speaking as well. So at this time, I'll bring on my guest, Brian J. Olds. Thank you so much.
What's going on? Thank you so much for having me, Shawnta. How are you?
I am doing well, and salute to you as well, sir. And you and I originally connected. I can't remember if I discovered you on LinkedIn or if it was through Facebook, because I know the Black Speakers Network also has a public Facebook group. I'm almost certain that it was LinkedIn, and then from there I learned more about you. So let's just jump right into it. You are a professional speaker, but you also are a mentor and role model, and a businessman, but you are a mentor and role model for other speakers, in particular Black speakers. So tell us a little bit about the Black Speakers Network.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure it might have been LinkedIn. For a while, I had been, I guess, quote unquote, sleeping on LinkedIn, as people say, because generally it was compared to some of the other social media platforms, it was, kind of boring. But I honestly, I tell people this all the time, particularly in the professional speaking arena or really any aspect of entrepreneurship. I have made more money from LinkedIn than any other social media platform. And we have some social media experts in our community with LinkedIn specifically. And it is absolutely the place that, if you're going to invest time to, have a visible presence, LinkedIn is a place. And I have some cool stories attached to that. But going back to
really quick, I 100% agree. I 100% agree. So for me, I don't think I ever slept on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, it takes years. It took me years since, maybe since 2009, 2010, I've been building my professional network. But LinkedIn, like you said, the relationships, the business opportunities, that's where, of all social media platforms, of all networking platforms, that has been the most lucrative and fruitful for me as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have something like I think at least 15,000 contacts there now. But my time that I spent in corporate, and I'll share a little bit about this in my story, but I spent 11 years in corporate America, and so there, LinkedIn, it played a different role. And so when I was transitioning, and when I officially made the transition to building Black Speakers Network and then doing it full time, it definitely the use case changed, and so it became a more focused vehicle. But anyway, so yeah, Black Speakers Network, what's going on? Super excited to reconnect, Shawnta, and thank you for the invitation to the show. Very excited for everyone that's here listening right now. If you are a current or aspiring professional speaker, I know you're going to get a lot of great information from this exchange. But specifically, Black Speakers Network was founded. I started it in 2016. It was really birthed out of a need, Shawnta, for me to get connected into the professional speaking world. And just to give you some backstory, I know that you're here in the greater DMV area as well. Actually, are you in Baltimore or are you in DC? Or in between?
In between.
In between. Okay, cool. So I always describe myself as a skinny kid from Baltimore. Grew up. I was an introvert. Still, I have a T-shirt that actually says certified introvert. Like, I did not feel like I was qualified to lead two people in silent prayer, even when I began speaking in college. And so I stumbled upon an organization called Toastmasters. And for those who aren't familiar, Toastmasters is a global organization, nonprofit dedicated to helping people improve their communication and leadership skills. I volunteered to speak at one of our first meetings. They were just starting at Morgan State University. And so this was way back in the summer of 2006. So if you can imagine, the only reason I signed up selfishly was because I knew that every time I got up to speak, it was sweaty palms, shaky voice. It was just really feeling very, very uncomfortable speaking in front of an audience. And as an introvert, which many people are, that's fine. I didn't enjoy having a lot of attention on me, but I knew that on the other side of, they always say everything that you want in life is on the other side of your comfort zone. I really felt like that was the case. And so I signed up to do this speech, and, same thing, sweaty palms, shaky voice, almost walked out of the room during the middle of my presentation. But throughout that time, I realized that one, I didn't die. I'm still alive. So that's good. Number two, in Toastmasters particularly, it's a very supportive environment. So there were people who were clapping, passing me notes, telling me what a good job I did. And that gave me fuel to do another presentation. And one became two became four, and eventually I was off and running. And so that foundation for Black Speakers Network actually goes all the way back to Morgan State University in 2006, when I kind of fell in love with the idea and just got comfortable with the idea of actually speaking in front of people, and then later on planted the seed for what has now become Black Speakers Network.
Yes, and shout out to Toastmasters. A lot of professional speakers, or just professionals in general, they have really benefited, and I'm pretty sure Toastmasters, they know that, but that's definitely, and for those of you who are watching, that's if what to do next, or what's my first step. Maybe that's a suggested first step. Maybe that may work for you. So that's why I enjoy these conversations. Before we go on, I want to greet our audience. We have Etna Jenkins checking in from Prince George's County, Maryland, and we have Travel Well with Mikkel. Mikkel is in Mexico.
Oh, we need to connect. just off of the brand name, like, we need to connect. That's great.
Yes, definitely. And Mikkel, she is a professional speaker and facilitator, and her target audience are Black lesbian women. I guess that makes sense what I just said.
Yeah, perfect. That's good stuff.
So that's Mikkel, and she's also an expat, and she's a previous guest on Live with Shawnta Jackson.
Nice.
And so thanks for checking in, Mikkel. Thank you so much. And we have Lorinda McKelvey, and she's excited for today's conversation, and she's checking in from Chicago, Illinois. And then we have in your ear radio, Latoya, and she's watching from Las Vegas. And Reverend Jenkins, she says that Toastmasters brought out the gift that was already in you.
Beautifully put. Beautifully
Yes.
put. Listen, that's really great, and obviously you're creating such an impact here on YouTube and all the other channels that we're broadcasting to now. So yeah, just thank you for creating that space.
Yes, yes. Thank you for your kind words. And so the Black Speakers Network, it's a membership organization. So there's paid membership, but I recall engaging with you in a Zoom meeting with individuals who were interested but not ready to join. Are you still doing those?
Yeah, so that was my story for LinkedIn. So when the pandemic first kicked off, everybody's trying to figure out what to do. And everybody's stuck in the house. And so one of the things we immediately started doing within Black Speakers Network is really upping our virtual engagement opportunities. And really, for a certain degree, for a large percentage of our membership, it was a blessing in disguise because there's so many things that you can do to connect with the audience you're called to serve. That's kind of like our tagline. And so, generally speaking, I said LinkedIn had just been sitting there on the shelf for a while, and I had these connections, but the connections, having 20,000 connections doesn't do anything for you. What does something for you is actually reaching out, and also it could be generally impractical to have 20,000 one-on-one conversations. So I met in the middle and said, you know what, I'm going to start hosting my own virtual experiences. I called it a LinkedIn Chat and Chew. And really, it was an opportunity to get to know other people, but also for people to connect with each other. And I think that's really one of the secrets, as we talk more about the professional speaking in the industry now. Everybody's If you can create an experience, if you can create a place for other people to connect, whether it's a virtual or in-person experience, you're always going to be a person of influence and a person who is just naturally going to create some sort of capital in the marketplace where people are going to want to work with you. It doesn't really matter if you're a speaker, if you own a barbershop, if you run a construction business, like it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, people are always going to do business with people they know, like, and trust. We know that. We've heard that for years and years. And so how do you build know, like, and trust? You create opportunities to cultivate those relationships. And so, yes, that's how we connected. And then I'm not currently doing those just from a bandwidth perspective. It got to be much, but I'm looking forward to like reinvigorating them because I was able to connect with hundreds of people over the course of this year that, Wednesdays at 12 to 1, so just an hour, we had these virtual chat and choose. Sometimes it would be 2 people, sometimes it would be 20 people. Didn't really matter. We would go around, get to know each other, and it was a great way to introduce people to Black Speakers Network. But more importantly, it was a great way to just kind of let them get to know Brian. Like, who is this guy on the other side of the computer that they may have seen, a couple posts from, we may have had a DM, but then you get a chance to see a real person. And I think that when I say that, LinkedIn is the platform that I've made the most money from, it was from that, and you were there, we weren't selling anything necessarily. We were just there sharing who we are, what we're doing. I did an email at the end to allow people to keep in touch with each other, and it ended up being like really successful. So yeah, the chat and chew was definitely one of my highlights of the year.
Yes. So what you did is you provided value as well. So I think that's the key thing for folks, and it's a marketing strategy. And I actually I learned this from watching some interviews with Tony Robbins. He was interviewing other successful people about marketing and sales, and so the value add, and so that's one thing that I've been consistent with my business cause engagement associates and my personal brand, and just this right here. So that even though we're connecting and I'm serving as a resource to others, this is still an opportunity for folks to get to know me to learn more about me,
Absolutely.
and they like me, and then therefore they want to do business with me, right? And they trust me as well. And then there's the consistency that goes with that. So just to recap from what I've learned from you thus far, key takeaways: the foundation. So we mentioned Toastmasters, but then also the chat and choose. And I like the fact that you mentioned that it doesn't matter if you are a professional speaker, a barber, a construction worker, as if you can connect people and you provide value to people. And then I like the strategy of the chat and choose. And so hint for those of you who are watching, as Brian said, bandwidth, he doesn't have the capacity. He grew and he can and so that's probably why he's not doing the chat and choose right now. However, if you have the time to do that, again, these are strategies for your endeavors, with whatever they may be.
Absolutely. That's really well said. And I know we didn't get a chance to, or I kind of went off in another direction, but for those that are curious, like what the heck is Black Speakers Network? So you're right. So we are a membership based speaker development and empowerment community. We have a amazing global network of around 15,000 current and aspiring speakers, but that also includes a network of meeting planners, podcasters, and individuals who host meetings and also create independently organized events. And so across our entire community, our mission is to equip, connect, and inspire the next generation of Black professional speakers. And really the reason I started Black Speakers Network in the first place is because I noticed what I perceived to be kind of a lack of, just representation for people of color, specifically Black speakers in the professional speaking industry. And as I went out and sought organizations and associations to learn from, I mean, any professional, whether you're in HR or you're a lawyer or whatever, like you're always going to join a professional association that is going to allow you to build the connections, relationships, as well as continue to advance yourself in your field. And so when I learned that there was a quote unquote professional speaking industry, naturally, I tried to find the associations tied to that. And, there are some great resources, but, just seeing only a few people that look like me was very disappointing. Not to mention there was like age gap, and also just being here in the Baltimore area, I also didn't see much. And so I really wanted to create a community, and I knew that creating a virtual community is really, I think in general, communities are the future of business as we kind of shift out of the information age and move into the age of context. There's no longer, you can learn just about anything you want to learn right now on YouTube for free. So I don't think for most people, information isn't the gap in executing in excellence. I think getting context is the challenge, and the best way to get context is through community, by being around people who are doing something, again, whatever it is. And you have people that are a little bit ahead of you, you have people that are way ahead of you, but then you also have people that you're teaching. And the best way to learn something ultimately is to teach it. And so, in creating this community of Black Speaker Network, my objective has been to really cultivate this space where people can not only learn from each other, but also we introduce training resources as well as access to speaking opportunities that you otherwise may not have had access to. So that's what we do at BSN, to answer your question earlier.
Yes, and so community. Yes, you definitely, I think, and just in business in general, or even just career in teams. Not everyone's an entrepreneur, so even within their, if they are an employee, it's either you partner or perish. Organizations, the same with organizations as well. You have organizations that would and businesses that would traditionally be competitors who see the value in partnering, and pretty much everyone wins. And especially sometimes they're going after the same target audience. And I'm in my field, I work in public health, so I'm thinking about hospitals, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any real competition for patients, because I think they have enough of those, but a lot of hospitals are partnering together to serve one community, and are actually participating on the same calls just as a team. It's just like, yes, we represent these different organizations, but we're all here together for the greater good of this one particular community. Um,
Exactly.
so yeah, so that goes the same for business. Anything you, in my opinion, you partner or perish, and to serve as a resource for each other, so that, like you said, sometimes there's people ahead of you, but there's people behind you and or with you, and you're all learning from each other, and you're teaching and you're growing. So yeah, so definitely community and context. And on your website, blackspeakersnetwork.com, I see that you have a podcast directory, and Black Speakers Network has its own podcast.
Mhm.
Is that, does that come with membership?
Yeah, so the podcast directory is actually open to anybody. So if you run a podcast, if you want to be added to the directory, just reach out to us and we'll get you added. The caveat is that it's really primarily there for individuals who are hosting podcasts. It's a podcast and platform directory. So right now we know that we're kind of in this era where all these different mediums are kind of meshing together. So you have video, online streaming, etc. There's alternative media delivery channels like Roku and Apple TV where you can host your own show. So I don't really care what it is. If you have a program, then we can absolutely, host it as long as you're producing programs on a consistent basis, and you are interviewing guests. Because ultimately, we want to increase the pool of available platforms that like our members have access to as well. And so, if you have something where you're interviewing guests on a regular basis, jump into blackspeakersnetwork.com, click on the directory, or actually click on contact us, and we'll be happy to make sure that you get on the directory. Now, that being said, the Black Speakers Network podcast is just a visibility tool for us. I think podcasting right now, even though some people kind of consider it a more mature medium, podcasts are still like it is still open season for podcasts. Like I think it is, when you contrast the people who listen and consume podcasts on a regular basis, and you think about your ability to quickly and easily reach a massive audience, podcast is still like really low hanging fruit. And so for us, we just thought it was important to have a presence there. We just wrapped up our first season in podcasting, so we'll probably be bringing back season 2 around February, and do 20 additional episodes with that. But the majority of our guests have been a healthy cross section of individuals who are BSN, what we call premium members. Those are individuals that pay monthly or yearly to get access to the things I mentioned earlier: more training, more resources, speaking opportunities. So you can be a BSN premium member. And we also have partners, to your point earlier, partner or perish. Like BSN, when I first started, I had spent 11 years in corporate. I spent 2 years as a corporate training instructor. I went to grad school. I was studying instructional design, and I done multiple speaking engagements. I've been paid to speak, but there was no way I was going to come into this industry thinking like, oh, I'm just going to teach all these different aspects of professional speaking. There's no way. So very early on, I partnered with individuals who are experts in their own area. We have marketing people, branding people, social media experts, storytelling experts, people who really understand how to sell from the stage, people that know how to sell into corporate and put together contracts, how to get college and university booking, how to get yourself sponsored. Like we deliver content on hundreds of topics. And so ultimately, those are individuals that we call platform partners, that help us not only deliver content, but provide products and services that are valuable to our membership as well. And so when you look at something like the BSN podcast, you're seeing kind of a healthy cross section of folks who have been, really, really great BSN partners, as well as members who have a valuable message to share.
Okay, so you found a niche, and on your website you have a speaker directory as well. and folks can go on to find a speaker. And then also, I understand that you share speaking opportunities with members.
Yes. So there's two ways we really three ways that we can help speakers get access to more opportunities. One of the biggest questions that we always get within BSN is, how do I get more speaking opportunities? That's what everybody wants to know. They want to get on more stages. And similar to what we were talking about earlier, the interesting thing about speaking is that there's really one of two ways that you can get onto a stage. You can get on somebody else's stage, or you can build your own stage. And we recommend doing both, honestly, unless you're really, really, you know, there's some other extenuating circumstances. You need to be creating your own stage, and you need to be consistently getting on other people's stages. Now, a stage is not just like a physical, we're not just talking about like a physical stage at a conference or a seminar or something like that. Virtual stages in 2021 and beyond are just as, if not more important and accessible than physical stages. You know, if you speak on a podcast and there's a listenership of 300 people, you know, when's the last time you spoke in front of 300 people? Like it's just as good. So we talk about speaking with a purpose and really crafting a strategy to get there. One of the first things that we had to do when I started Black Speakers Network is create a model that will allow you to understand how to build the speaking business. And so we call it the 5 M's. And so everything that we teach is focused around these 5 M's. It's focused on helping you get clarity on your mission, your message, how to market, how to monetize, and how to manage your speaking business. So those 5 M's, there may be hundreds of topics underneath that, but that's what we talk about all day long: mission, message, marketing, how to monetize, how to manage your speaking business. And when it comes to, you know, getting on more stages and finding more speaking opportunities, all 5 of those M's, you know, matter. Like if you don't have an understanding of who your target audience is, i.e. mission, or, you know, you mentioned finding a niche and really figuring out what problem you solve, doesn't matter how many stages we put you on, you're going to spin your wheels and it's going to be hard to get traction. Message is what we focus on in Toastmasters, those speaking fundamentals, you know, creating a solid signature framework, being able to deliver a story with conviction, being comfortable speaking. All of those mechanical elements are super important, because ultimately, when you deliver a presentation on stage, that's the best form of marketing that you have. Most speakers find speaking opportunities from other speaking opportunities. So the more people you hear you speak, the more offers you get extended to you to speak. And so we recognize that people can struggle sometimes with getting that traction. And so that's why we created things like the speaker directory, where once you become a BSN premium member, as long as you have a professional headshot, a bio, and a speaker website, then we can add you to the directory. The directory is sorted by your area of expertise. And we have lots of meeting planners coming to our website all the time, finding speakers, and they don't even have to reach out to us. They can go directly to your website, contact you directly. But we also send out what we call speaker opportunity alerts. And so these are multiple times throughout the week. We have national conferences, seminars, workshops, TEDx talks, you name it, that are actively looking for speakers. And we send those out, and you can respond to the ones that apply to you. And then lastly, we have our own platforms within BSN, like the podcast and our own events. So we have 3 ways that we can instantly support speakers by helping you get more speaking opportunities. And those are available as soon as you become a member.
Thanks for that information. And as Reverend Edna Jenkins says, seeking new opportunities is key. And thank you for everyone who's watching and tuning in and asking questions. And Tom Hooper, I see your comment. I'll get to it in a moment. So before we close out, what's missing? What speakers do you, for BSN, is there like a majority? Is there like a missing pool of a certain type of speaker? Is there an unmet demand And maybe this question can probably motivate someone, or maybe awaken them to opportunities that they may think speaking is only motivational, like motivational speaking, and they may not recognize that their knowledge base could probably be an opportunity that's being sought out, but that's not being met.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, I mean, there's two ways I want to answer that. We can look at what's happening now, and then we can look at the opportunity. What's happening now is, this digital consolidation that we mentioned earlier. Um, when COVID-19 first kicked off, we saw a consolidation of training budgets. People weren't putting people on planes anymore. Meetings were being canceled. Conferences were going away. But what actually was most interesting is that just because an event has been canceled doesn't mean people's problems are canceled. Whatever it is, your area of expertise, if you're a relationship coach, we saw record numbers of people struggling, to, keep their relationship healthy, throughout the course of the pandemic. We saw, individuals who are figuring out like how to climb the corporate ladder, how to navigate their careers, how to shift careers, how to transition into entrepreneurship, financial services. People are trying to figure out, if they should buy crypto, or if they should continue to invest in traditional vehicles, or how to best manage their money. So here's my thing: pick a problem, pick an audience, and go super serve that audience around that problem. And to me, speaking, we have, when it comes to what we call monetize your message, there's like 20 different ways that you can make money as a speaker. Speaking in front of being a paid speaker in front of an audience is just one method. And it's really not even the most exciting. And it's really not even the best, because when you think about it, Shawnta, it's like, if I don't physically show up to speak, then I'm not getting paid. And so that's like equivalent to almost like having a job. What we train speakers to do is create a brand, a speaker business, that you're going to have multiple channels in which you are serving your audience to solve a problem. And so right now, yeah, there are definitely some hot button topics that absolutely aren't going away. Diversity, equity, inclusion, I should say, is one of the top requested topics in corporate and as well as college and university. But when you think about the problems that people have, most of them aren't going away. It doesn't matter where we are, like pandemic or no pandemic, like they're always there. So instead of, I don't recommend becoming a speaker to try to chase a particular trend, or try to, get in while like a particular market or segment is hot. I think you should look inside and look at the, we call it the speaker sweet spot. So it's like the intersection between what is it that you love, that you're super passionate about, super driven, like you're going to do it regardless. What is it that like what solutions have you either deployed in your own life or helped other people get through to achieve a result? And then think about what is the market actually asking for. And the intersection between that passion, expertise, and market demand is that speaker sweet spot. So it doesn't matter if I think it's a hot topic or not. Like, if there are people out here right now who are struggling with a particular problem, and you have that experience and you care about those people, then you could build a business around it. And whether or not you leverage speaking as a component of that business is really just going to be a function of if you enjoy speaking. So that's kind of the way we approach it. It's really from like a head, heart, hands type of philosophy.
Well, thank you. This has been a very informative conversation. Brian, if you all are interested in connecting with Brian J. Olds on LinkedIn, his name is listed, his contact information is listed below. And then also, if you are interested in Black Speakers Network, please do visit the website at blackspeakersnetwork.com. And as always, you can learn more about me at shawntajackson.com. You can learn more about Cause Engagement Associates at causeengagement.com. But before we close out, I mentioned that this is my 25th episode of Connections with Shawnta Jackson. And I have a lot of different things going on, different moving parts. But I before Connections, I had Live with Shawnta Jackson, and I interviewed 53 videos, so 53 interviews, episodes. I probably had maybe 4 repeat guests. And so this is every week during the shutdown. Every Saturday, I'm interviewing, I'm meeting different people. Anthony Hamilton, Topeka K. Sam. She's a women's rights advocate for formerly incarcerated women. A.D. Dolphin, the founder of A.D. Of The Herbs, and he was featured a lot on the Steve Harvey Show and Page Six, and he's out in L.A. And a lot of different people. Just a lot of different people, and then just local folks too that have their own lived experiences, whether it's losing their child, facing some type of personal trauma, such as rape or domestic violence. And so I did that show, kind of took a break from it, a lot of energy, and I said, you know what, I want to transition. And I want to focus on something more professional. I'm missing out on my LinkedIn audience really quick, So I have this idea. How can I bring resources to professionals? Okay, connections with Shawnta Jackson. It'll be about professional networking, business growth, and career advancement. And so individuals like you're my 25th guest, as I mentioned. And so I appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching. But prior to this, I took a television production course at DCTV. And so my plan was to go out in the field and help people and to feature socially conscious initiatives and do all these storytelling projects. So what I have planned for 2022 is an upgrade, actually. So I'm ready to step from behind the webcam and to go out into the field, which will include the United States of America and probably some international destinations as well. And so just be on the lookout for that, everyone. And then also I am working on my second book, The Resilience of a Woman, and I hope to have the pre-release sell by the end of this year, but it will be released in January. And for those of you who are in the LA area, I will be at the Ultimate Women's Expo December 11th and 12th, and visit my booth. And you can meet me in person. And then also that Sunday, I'll be speaking on stage. And my theme is perseverance, faith, and resilience. And so everyone, again, thanks for tuning in. Let's close out with these. Let's see our last comments. Amelia says, congratulations. Thank you very much. Belinda, job well done. Thank you very much. Shantu, Belinda's my mom, by the way, in Las Vegas. Yeah. And Shantu, he's in Prince George's County, Maryland. He says, congrats on 25 episodes strong. Thank you so much. And Tom Hooper is watching from LinkedIn. And he says, I will miss your informative sessions. I have watched every one of them. Thank you. Some twice on YouTube. Best wishes for a prosperous and impactful future. Thank you so much, Tom. And I definitely will stay connected. And there's always, I'm still active. I'm just switching. Like I said, I just want to do a little upgrade. That's all. So everyone, thank you for watching, for tuning in. My YouTube channel, if you have not already, please do subscribe. And thank you, Brian, for joining me today. And again, his website is blackspeakersnetwork.com. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.